All right, hi everyone. I'm Daniel Williams, Senior Editor at MGMA, back for another live from the Leaders Conference podcast. I am here with Laura Weeks from Help You Comply. Laura, welcome.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, now you were telling me on our walk over here to our little studio here at the Leaders Conference that this is your first show.
Yes, it is. Very excited about that.
Came over from Delaware, so what's it been like so far? We're about a day or so into it.
Phenomenal. Everyone has just been so friendly, willing to network. I've met a lot of people from a lot of different specialties and a lot of different subject matter expertise. Yeah. It's been beneficial.
Yeah, so as I mentioned, you're with Help You Comply. This is a compliance company. Tell us just a little bit about what do you do? What kind of compliance are you looking at, and how do you go about doing that?
Yeah, so our goal is to make complying easy.
Okay.
And really putting the tools and resources that providers and facilities need in order to be compliant.
Yeah.
And within their range, within what their risk tolerance is, because there is not one organization that's the same as the other. So there is no one size fits all.
Okay. Yeah, we at MGMA, we've put together a series of books. It's our Advanced Strategy series. We're proud to say our third and final entry in the series, Operations Management, is debuting here at the Leaders Conference. The reason I bring it up, it's not a pitch for the book, well, it's a little bit, but it's also, we had a whole chapter on compliance. I'm definitely not an expert on it, but I learned so much more about compliance as we put together that chapter. So I want to test you on that. What are some of the major compliance issues? I know some of the things we were running into were OSHA was one of those. So is OSHA and some of the other ones you want to share with us that you're seeing at medical practices that they need to be aware of?
Absolutely. So I think one that a lot of your listeners would be very familiar with is privacy, HIPAA.
Yes.
Security, making sure that their systems are intact so they don't have a breach, and knowing exactly what to do if a breach occurs.
Right.
Because it's not if, it's when.
Okay.
But one that a lot of providers are not really aware of that can be triggered very easily is Stark and kickback.
Okay.
There's a lot of different business ideas that are brilliant, but can cross that line very quickly. And we at Help You Comply can make those guardrails clear. So then putting that decision in the practice's bucket or back in their lap so they can decide exactly where they want to fall within those guardrails.
Okay. How do we do that? What are some of the steps you take so you make sure you are compliant?
Yeah, so first thing is knowing what compliance is.
Defining it first, right?
Right, knowing exactly what that is and knowing exactly what to do when you see something wrong.
Okay.
So what I tell providers is know who your resources are, know exactly who you need to contact, and educate yourself.
Okay.
Attend conferences like this, attend the different compliance sessions, read different blogs, and just keep yourself up to date with regulatory changes because they change all the time.
Yeah. Do you have an example you can give us about a compliance issue maybe that you guys worked with a practice and what that looks like?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So one example would be fee forgiveness.
Okay.
Let's say you have a facility that are seeing patients and the patients are maybe not paying the bill.
Okay.
Right?
I like that euphemism there. Yeah.
Very common.
Yeah.
But what is the facility doing to attempt to collect those payments?
Right.
Are they actually sending invoices out? Are they speaking with the customers about the clients, the patients, about what their obligations are and getting them to sign, acknowledging what their obligations are? And where a lot of practices fall short, it's not the actual doing and follow through, it's the documentation of doing and following through. So when an audit happens, they can prove their efforts.
At Help You Comply, what do you guys do to help them see that through? Do you have templates? Do you have a process, a checklist? Talk about that.
Yes, all the above.
All of the above.
All of the above, yes. So we are, what we like to do is to help providers from a proactive perspective
Right.
to put those measures in place, to give them checklists, to give them templates, to give them how-tos so they can be compliant. But what we also do is if you're under investigation, if you're under audit, we can help you build your case. We can help you compile all the things that you need to compile in order to present it to whether it's the payer or government entity.
Yeah, that brings up an issue here then. You're saying to make sure you have everything done. What are some of the things that a practice may not know they need to bring to build their case there?
Let's see. Let's give an example. Let's continue with the example that we were just talking
sure.
about. Okay, because it would be different on
Yeah.
a case-by-case basis. So it could be your mailing statements, your invoices that you're sending out, your financial agreements, your consent forms that actually talk about the consent to bill
Yeah.
and patient responsibility. It could be their ABNs that they need to sign in advance of getting any particular procedure done, so the customer, the patient knows exactly what to expect from a price transparency perspective.
So if there is a breach, because right before I left for the leaders conference, I mean, literally that morning, my wife and I were opening our mail and our insurance company did have a breach. And so we got a form letter there that, told us what to do there. So if you get one of those letters and you are the practice, you have this breach in place, what's your first step? What's that first step? What's the first thing you should do?
So really understanding what the breach entails
Okay.
and understanding who had the breach.
Okay.
Is the breach from within the practice or is the breach within maybe a business associate of yours?
Okay.
Do you have a business associate in place? And that spells out who's responsible for what, not only for actions, but for payments, who's responsible for what. And then you also want to make sure that you are reporting
Okay.
if it falls within the criteria of reporting.
Okay. Last question then. What else do you want to get out of this leaders conference this year? It's your first one, so
Yes.
you may be kind of like just taking it all in, absorbing it. I know that you and I met in the exhibit hall yesterday during the sort of happy hour event. It was really neat getting to meet you there in that big MGMA cozy lounge area there. That's really neat. What are you going to be looking to do here the rest of your next few days here?
So you hit the nail on the head. I'm really just taking it all in and absorbing it, meeting as many people as I possibly can. My goal is to learn exactly what the facilities, what the practices are experiencing, so I can better identify how we can help them.
Okay. Well, Laura Weeks at Help You Comply, thank you for joining us at the Leaders Conference.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right.